in the private Facebook group for fitness protection, and I'm very self-conscious about all my flyaway hairs here. Anyway, what I wanted to do is quickly respond to all the emails I've been getting about the program. So I appreciate all the interest, but my stance toward email has not changed. I just don't have time to respond to everything. I really don't. You guys have sent me some really amazing and lovely emails, and I just cannot, I just literally cannot. I would never do anything other than respond to email. So it's very, although some have been very tempting, if I can't address it in a stream or a mantra, chances are pretty good it'll take me a while to get to it. I say that lovingly, and I hate that that's the answer. But it's either answer email or do everything else. And right now I'm going to choose everything else. Just because you don't feel, if that is the only way you can feel coached and loved, we need to find a way to talk about that, preferably through this, because this kind of gets at the heart of what the biggest change that I wanted to make going forward. So high level, what the fitness protection program is, it's a way to maintain. More often than not, what I get from people that are coming into a marathon training cycle or a half marathon training cycle, I'm like, when was your last race? Oh, it was like 3 months ago. Okay, great. What have you been doing since? I've been running like 30 minutes, 3 or 4 times a week. I meet the run group for like an hour on Saturdays, and I'm like, okay. And what do you want out of this? Well, I want to be faster than I was before, stronger than I was before. I want it better since I've done it before. I think this should be faster than my last one. And I'm like, wow. But you haven't maintained. So training age and experience are 2 discrete ideas. That means they're totally different. They have nothing in common with each other. And I have a blog post about that I'm going to post on the Coach MK Facebook page in a little bit. But before I get to that, I want to talk about why that kind of strikes at the heart, why maintaining matters so much. And what do you have to do to maintain? Honestly, you got to keep the long run. You've got to keep the run pattern. And all of my training plans follow the same pattern, with Thursdays being optional and Sundays being a required day off. And the more you can stay in that pattern, the better off you will be over time, because then it's not such a shock to your family, to your lifestyle, to your system to get back into a training cycle or a training plan. And the other reason it matters we're going to get to in a minute. But what the first product that I'm going to be rolling out, or the first bucket of products that I'm going to be rolling out, is called Maintain. And we're going to get the minimum MVP is minimum viable product. That means the most important one. This is the base product, and then we build and specialize from there. And the base product is before I talk about what you get for your money, I want to talk about why it exists. Okay, so on Maintain, once you've been in there for 3 months, and this is really the goal. This is my goal, frankly, right now. I want to get fit enough that I can be in my month-to-month groups. So the month-to-month groups are going to keep you year-round. You are perpetually ready to race a half marathon. Like, you don't even need, I say, if you really wanted to make it super good, like Coach MK, I really care about this half. I run it every year. I run it with my best friend. I race it with my husband. You know, my husband's ex-wife is there, and I have to be faster than her. I don't care what the reason is. I will never judge your reason. But I will say that if you really need it to be better than the last one, then let's do some specific work on that for at least 6 weeks. We don't need more than that. 6 weeks, start to finish. So being in the plan, stay in the plan, 6 weeks to ramp up to a really fast half marathon. And then as soon as we've recovered from that, we get back to business. Instead of this perpetual cycle of not doing enough, overtraining, and then burning out and not doing enough again. My monthly's long run gets you to almost 16 miles. Yeah, that's the idea. And so that is also why, Karen, that it will keep you ready for a marathon cycle year round. And we only need 10 weeks to get you from the longest long run of, say, 14 to 16 miles. Because if you're getting 16, then do the math. Someone that's running way slower than you at 140 is still probably getting at least 13 to 14 miles out of the longest run in the monthly plan. So from 14 miles to 26.2 preparation, 10 weeks, really. So again, instead of the overtraining, burning out, not doing enough, coming back, let's just keep like one long steady baseline year round, and that is what we aim to do. So you're half marathon ready at the drop of a hat. If there's like a local half you want to do, great, go do it. If there's a local 10K you want to do, great, go do it. It's not a big deal. But when it comes to like ultras are a little bit different. I've already gotten some inquiries about like, well, I want to do 2 ultras a year in addition to all these other races. And I'm like, on your maintain plan, what would that look like? And I'm like, oh, well, I'm so sorry I haven't responded to those emails, but that's because the answer to this is it depends. There's incredible amounts of variability in the ultra community, and that's not a bad thing at all. It just means I can't say 8 weeks for sure when we talk about, you know, how long is it going to take you to transition to a trail. If you've been running on roads, then we got to readapt your joints. Your joints need less readaptation for the trail, but your instincts are not going to be fresh. You probably aren't used to running over tree roots, of looking at the ground, of running at night, of having to fuel throughout, because everybody knows on my plans I don't fuel. And for anything less than an ultra, odds are really good. If you think that you can finish your long run in 5 hours or less, then we probably don't need to talk about fueling. That will always be my position on it. And I will encourage everyone to do. Maintain sounds awesome because it helps with that goal. Stoppage, it helps with the race plan. And starting is hard. Starting is hard, right? Because it's a lifestyle. And if we make this a lifestyle choice and stick to it, even if it's not perfection, it's better than nothing. Because nothing is what's really hard, and that's what's demoralizing. Like, we're bringing you back from a training age. Effectively, I let my training age get to 0. Great, let's not do that ever again. But so you've got nutrition, then you've got the skills that are specific. Are you running on scree? Are you running downhill? How many verts do we need to get out of your week of training? Because how many vertical miles are you going to have to climb in that ultra that you want to train for? How technical is it? Or is it single track? Is it double track? Do we need to get a crew ready as well? Do you have friends that know how to provide proper crew support, and will they be there on your long runs? There are a lot of variables between like a 50K, a 30 miler, a 50 miler, and a 100 miler. So I don't want to have too many subspecialized ultra programs. So I'm not quite sure what that's going to look like yet. Because generally speaking, people who want to do things like Western States do not gravitate towards me as a coach. I'm not opposed. It just doesn't really happen yet. 2.5:45 last week. Yesterday 1:55. Love how the cutback week shows up at the right time for my body too. Yeah, exactly. You get a cutback. People complained a lot about there are no cutback weeks in my other plans. And I'm like, well, you demand performance in a very short period of time. We don't have time for a cutback week when we only have 8 weeks of buildup, really, out of a 20-week plan. You should not need a cutback week during your base building season. I can understand needing a cutback during the specificity portion, but the specificity portion is you've got 8 weeks, really 6 weeks, because 2 of that 8 weeks is taper. So where does the cutback need? If you're already burning out with 3 weeks of the hard stuff, like, we need to reevaluate what you were doing in this plan in the first place. But I digress. That's what happens a lot. It's like you should not be burnt out from that base building period. And my hope for you is that you guys will not burn out or be bored either. So with the caveats, so there are a lot of caveats, all the variability in the ultras. And I don't know so I think this is going to be the base product. And then this is what the base product will do. You'll be ready. We can talk about how ready you can be to transition into an ultra. Whether or not you train for that ultra with me remains to be seen yet, but there will be a plan, plans that you can opt into that will be rolling out later in the year that will be very, very easy, that you can go from maintain to marathon or maintain to sharpen up for a half. And there'll be pathways in the website that allow you to do that in a very easy to execute manner. With that, so year round, you're half ready, you're marathon training ready, and you're improving your fitness. You are meeting the American Heart Association standards for long-term cardiovascular health. That's the reason that my dad's still alive after the heart attack that should have killed him. It's the reason that, and I say that with a straight face, when he went in for his 20-year revisit with his cardiologist 20 years after surgery, I remember sitting there. My father is not a humble man. We sat there in the waiting room. I was home from abroad and had to be, so I was home from abroad. I just graduated from college, and I'm sitting there when the nurse calls out, Richard Brooks, and the doctor was like, no, They're like, no, Richard Brooks. From Carthage? Yes. No. There's no way he survived. My dad started crying. So the difference between him and what that doctor expected was jogging. It was the ability and the willingness to stick to that plan and develop that long-term cardiovascular health that he'd been lacking. So it's the reason why I can stand here, because let me tell you, when I say I did dumb things in my 20s because I didn't really want to live, I'm not exaggerating. Did a lot of dumb stuff. There's an article about a dude that went and ran an ultra high on LSD. Done it. Yep. I'm not bragging. I'm saying what has kept me alive through my years of trauma and terrible decision making was a super healthy heart and a whole lot of luck and the grace of God. So you shouldn't need those three things to keep going in life. But we're going to talk a lot about self-care. We're going to talk a lot about trauma management. We're going to talk a lot about anxiety management. We're going to talk about those things when people say running is your therapy. Therapy is my therapy. Nothing is ever going to replace therapy. But what we can do is take this vicious cycle that often makes people feel like shit and turn it into a daily radical act of self-care that gives you control over your mind, your life, your body, your fitness level, and in turn, your long-term health. I don't want to be one of those old people that's at the age of 45, their knees creak when they climb the stairs. They already do a little bit, but it doesn't have to be worse and more than that. So I say none of these things to shock you, but to give you perspective. Like I've been there. I have been down and out. I've been in bed for a year. I have made terrible, horrible choices. And now I have a lot that I care about and a lot I really want to do. And this is the framework to start doing all of those things. So there's that the long-term health is a really big deal, obviously. But how, again, the execution of how we're going to get there. I've gotten a lot of questions about what do I get for $30? Well, honestly, right now, nothing, because we're only in beta testing mode, and the beta test for Maintain is closed. I've got all the people I need for it. If you have applied for, or if you've emailed me about Rebuild or Runner Interrupted, I have those emails. I'm coming for you. I just got to get through this beta test to get this minimum viable product launched, and then I will be back for the minimum viable product in the next product category, which is Build and Rebuild. But I digress. The minimum viable product is going to cost $30. There will be minimal marginal costs for the specialized products when we roll those out later if you want to opt into them. I'm not saying that I'm going to, during those 10 weeks, I'm going to charge you a whole bunch of extra money to train for a marathon. I'm going to offer you the option, if you want a little additional support during that time, a good way to get it. And also, I don't want the Q&A sessions, which I'm going to get to turn into whose questions are more important, and I'm answering the marathoner questions first because those are more important. I don't want anyone to feel otherized if they're not in a race cycle. So I want to sort of separate the people that are in these specialty products from the generalized question and answer sessions I'm going to be doing each week in a way that makes everyone feel comfortable as opposed to less than. Because it is very critically important to me that no one ever feels less than. It's like I'm where I want to be or I'm not where I want to be yet. I am in a race cycle. I'm not in the race cycle at the moment. You always have an option, and I don't care if you exercise that option ever. I don't need you to race. I never did. So for the minimum viable product, you're going to get a code to put that plan into Training Peaks. And the plan will only have the runs in it. Just because when I look at Training Peaks and I see everything, it's really hard to look at. When I see everything in one place on one training plan, it is really overwhelming. So I want to present things in a different way that does not seem as overwhelming as it does. Because I know there's some days I look at mine and I'm just like, ugh. So I can only imagine what you guys think. So with that, you're going to get the Training Peaks code, and then you're in the membership area of your website. That's where this is going to live. And at the point of sale, you'll go in. And this is a subscription service. When I say subscription, that is a legal term. That's legal terminology. It's an ongoing regular charge. I am not going to have a sign-up fee. I am not going to have a cancellation fee. This is not like a gym membership. That's why it's a subscription. It's not a membership. You can go in there and turn the subscription off after you make the first purchase, and then you'll hopefully, if all the automated systems work behind the scene, you will get an automated message the day before your card is charged for the next month to be like, hey, FYI, this is where your membership is. This is the level that you're at. You're renewing tomorrow. If you want to opt into a different program very soon, now's the time to do it. If you want to turn off your membership, now is the time to do it. Thank you for training with the Fitness Protection Program, whatnot. I don't want anyone to feel locked in. If I do my job correctly, you won't need a coach very long. But if I do my job well, and I intend to do my job well, you'll never want to leave, because I'm going to make it so easy for you to keep doing the right thing and making good choices in between training cycles and feel supported all the time. So as far as I'm concerned, you got your money's worth with that. The optional add-on products, and that I would do anyway, right? Where I'm going to do some live streams, Q&A, the question and answer session. So you'll be submitting your questions ahead of time so that I can group them into categories. And then, or if there are similar questions, I can combine those questions rather than have 4 people asking me basically the same question, but I only answer one really thoroughly, so that there are 3 people that feel less than. And that happened a lot too. So this is more efficient for me. I'll be able to take all the questions ahead of time, group them, answer them, and even better, this is another thing that I love about Twitch. You don't have to watch the whole broadcast to wait for your answer. We can highlight and segment and cut up each answer for you to keep in your Twitch, or export it to YouTube so that you can hold on to that and have that answer to go back to over and over again, which is another complaint I got about office hours. We got off the phone and I loved every word you said, but I couldn't remember anything you said once I hung up the phone. I wish I had recorded our call. Well, that's why we're not going to do office hours yet. We might get back into it because I have ideas about how to do that better as well. But for now, we're going to start here. The question and answer, we're going to start with one live stream a week. It's going to be on Sunday night at 5 p.m. I'll be collecting the questions for the question collection box will be open all week long. If you have something that needs your immediate attention, you can go tag my assistant coach, who will be all over that Facebook group all the time. But we're keeping it simple. Only admins can post in the group. She will be posting a thread each day, and you feel free to participate in it. If you want to talk about, if you need the daily motivation, if you really want to jump in there, great, do it. If you have a question that needs immediate response, tag her, she'll be in it. I'm not going to be in the Facebook group very much at all. So with that, I really want to free up my time to focus on programming and preparing the live streams. And there's so many other things I could do. And this is going to really, I'm hoping this will free up my time to do those other things well, to deliver an even better experience for you guys. So then the programming, you're going to get a programming schedule of when I'll be live streaming. Now again, a lot of you are not on Twitch, and I get that, and you're watching this on YouTube or on Facebook later, but I tell you, the power of this medium is that, number one, you can see the screen behind me. It looks reversed to me right now, but when you see the video, you can read everything on the wall behind me. That does not happen on Instagram Live or Facebook Live. It does not happen anywhere else, unless you have really expensive software I have no intention of buying. Number two, this interactive component. If you know when I'm going to be here and you really want to interact with me, then you follow the programming schedule, you make yourself available when I'm here, and you can ask your question and you will get an answer. As you guys have been watching, I interact with this and read all of these as they come up. I'm going to get even better about that going forward as we grow. So we're going to start with one Q&A session each week, and hopefully over time as the program grows, we'll be expanding to include one on Thursday afternoons as well. And then we'll have the regular programming schedule that includes my assistant coach and I'll be when she goes live, I'll broadcast it on my channel, and when I go live, she'll broadcast it on her channel too. So you'll always have, every day you will have something coming from either of us, and I'm not sure what that's going to look like yet, but somebody will be foam rolling all the time, and somebody will be practicing that monthly strength daily. So you will have someone reminding you, hey, yay for good decisions, let's foam roll. Hey, Yay for good decisions. Let's do some strength. Whoop! And it'll be easier for me to do that once my baby's in daycare. Baby Val's starting that soon. I can't get over it. Don't want to think about it. And then coming soon, we're going to be some long form podcasts. Yay! Don't push me too hard on it though, because that is it's a time suck and it's a little pricey. So while that is kind of the long term, when I'm not in the Facebook group, I'm able to do programming like this for you guys, and I'm really excited about it. So we got a lot of good things coming up. A lot of good things going forward. I could not be more excited about this, and I thank you guys for being on this ride with me. I just wanted to, again, sort of give you the quick rundown, since I can't respond to all those emails in my inbox. If I respond with the link, and all you got was a response from me with that link in there. Again, that's not because I don't love you and I don't care. It's just because I can't give you guys all the thoughtful time that you warrant and deserve in my email inbox, but I can do it here. Yay! So if you come find me when this broadcasting window is open each day, I can coach and love you in a really cool way. If you demand that I come to you, then I'm never really going to be able to scale or grow this program or make enough money to possibly pay the mortgage if my husband gets hit by a car tomorrow. So if we really want this, to come and go, then it's got to be a viable business. And with this infrastructure, I'm pretty sure we can make this a viable business. Yeah. Yay! Thank you. I'm glad you think it sounds amazing. I'm really excited too. And for you, Erica, to go along with the text that you just sent, the thing about Maintain, and I will help you alter it to meet your needs once you get me EAT results that I can manipulate in my training peak, so I know I can guide you better. The thing to remember about Maintain is that all of the hard workouts in there are optional. You don't ever have to do them. I will make it very clear in the programming. Remember, when your membership area of the membership area of the website, you will have 3 videos that talk about what we're trying to get that month, the strength, and what to think about form-wise, how to execute it, and the runs, what to think about and how to execute them. And I will make the elements that are non-negotiable really clear, and I'll talk about like how to work with the rest, hopefully in a way that won't burn you out. So I think we can find a way to wrap this around you, Erica, but that's the idea. We can find a way to wrap this around everybody and keep you here for the long term. And that's really what we want. We want to build instead of break and keep moving over time. So you're awesome. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you a lot. I'm super excited going forward. I know it'll be a different experience than what you guys have had in the past, and I know it's going to be a big adaptation curve for people that are just like, ugh, Twitch. But I love Twitch. I'm a 40-year-old woman that thinks Twitch is the greatest thing ever, and it's because I can have this level of interaction while I'm here. If you take a look, scroll down that stream chat and just think to yourself, right now, before this, the only way I had to interact with you guys was all of that in email form coming to me, or all of that in Facebook in a post coming to me. And those Facebook threads were wonderful, but they were never ending. It was just like this web that would go everywhere. I remember there was one day where I had 19 follow-up responses to a sub question. And then when I closed the thread, there were still questions coming in. But I had to walk away from it because I've been sitting there for 90 minutes. My kids were mad. My husband was mad. And then the clients were mad. I'm like 90 because I had missed their final question, and they were really indignant about it. And I'm like, that was the moment I broke. Everyone is mad at me right now. I've been working nonstop for 90 minutes. I'm in bed. I am with a terrible pregnancy, and people are mad at me for having a bad pregnancy because it makes them worried that I can't actually make them faster. They're worried, they are mad that they're not getting attention. My family's mad that they're not getting attention, and my kids feel like crap because all they want to do is come and climb in my bedroom. Meanwhile, other clients, so it wasn't a problem for a really long time. People would wait for me to come on to start answering all the Ask the Coach threads, and I knew it. They could be like, I would see the comments going up in my other computer screen. Coach MK is in there answering questions, go! And people would come in with the follow-on questions. Well, if you can wait for me to show up to answer questions in a thread on Sunday nights and Ask the Coach, you can wrap yourself around a programming schedule where you know I'm going to be here each day, so you can ask me a question and I can answer it live. It is just as good. It's just a little bit different work on your part too. So not to dress anyone down in here. I mean, it was a continuous struggle for me where it's like, no matter what I do, I lose unless there are no questions there on a Sunday night, which means something totally different and not as much fun. Like, where is everybody? No one has questions. Oh no, they're still mad at me for last week. So I really hope that this sets us all up for winning in the long term, and instead of the perpetual frustration machine that was really kind of coming at me, I felt in 2017, 2018. Because you guys deserve a good experience. I want to serve you well, but the best way to do it is to tell you where I'm going to be in a very predictable, easy to consume way, and you can come and go as you please. So, yay, that's it. This is the high level, what's going to be happening with Fitness Protection. If you're part of the beta test, you're going to be experiencing this as soon as I can get upstairs and get the back end plugged in the website. If you're waiting on an email from me, please don't. I love y'all. I just can't. My inbox is so out of control. I barely know where to start. And until I have more revenue coming in, I can't hire people to help me with that. Everyone be real nice to my assistant coach and thank her profusely because she's not getting paid yet. Yay. Heart your thoughtfulness and your love of caring inspiration. Thank you. I really hope it rocks V. I really do. I want to make sure that you guys have an experience that you deserve, that I am the coach I wanted to hire back in 2013 at a price point I could have afforded back then. I just uploaded a big document called Our Story, My Story, Coach MK's Story, on the Fitness Protection Facebook page. Practicing copy for the website. If you guys want to go scan through that and tell me what you think, I would love feedback on that in the Fitness Protection, the Maintain Facebook group. But that is really the genesis of me as a coach and of this concept on the whole. I don't want to charge you more than what I could have afforded back then. And that I will never forget the $30 I needed in babysitting fees to get to the track that night to meet the coach who said he couldn't work with me. And that number stung and stuck in my head because there was so much I could have done with $30 at the time, either than show up and be told no. So I never want anyone to feel that way ever again. I'm never going to forget that combination of shame, humiliation, and rage. And I want to make sure that you guys never feel that way with me. So I would rather under promise and over deliver, but these are the promises, and all of this, like I said, is optional. No, I will not be giving discounts if you don't use these things. You got your money's worth with this minimum viable product as far as I'm concerned, and this is optional. Consume it, great. You will really get your money's worth if you're using all the extras, but if you aren't using the extras and you aren't doing the extra, I'm not going to do discounts ever. What I want to do, I want to save those bullets for later and we're bigger, and then I would love to give discounts to farmers, to first responders, to teachers in public schools, or even private schools where I know they're paid below market rates. I want to give discounts to people with disabilities, like my friend, my blind runner, Carrie. He's very salty. I said, so how do you find run coaches? How did you find a training plan? And his answer really kind of hurt and shocked me. He was like, I wouldn't even bother Googling it because once I found none of those sites are accessible to me, so I stopped looking a long time ago. And I'm like, oh, because his screen reader can't work and navigate them. So which is another reason we're taking a long time with the websites to get them up, to make sure that the screen reader site exists, and then can work with a phone call to get more information to people that are visually impaired for some of the more complicated things to translate into a screen reader view for them. But I digress. Those are the people I really want. It's not like I love you less or I care less. It's the people that are kind of hurting the same way that I was a long time ago. Those are the people I really want to give the discounts to. And eventually I would like to reward people that want to buy a year in advance with something discounted, maybe like, buy 1 year, get a month free or 2 months free or whatever. But we're not there yet. I don't have the back-end system to manage that yet, to manage those payments and remember who's where. That's all fancy computer software I can't afford to buy yet. So between now and then, we're going month to month. We're keeping it nice and simple. The KISS, keep it simple, stupid, principle of business is really going to apply here. But hopefully we're going to have like a really, really good, rocking good time. Yay! Any more questions, feel free to throw them out. I'm going to catch up on the comments. Love Twitch, but also love that once these expire here, they can be accessed at YouTube. Yes, I've put pretty much everything I've ever done on Twitch on YouTube. Most of them are public for obvious reasons. But there's a lot more I want to do here, and a lot more that I can do once I have a little more money, a little more staff, a little bit more technological capability, and a little more flexibility. And I can't wait to do all those things with you guys going forward. Yay! I love you, Helen BF. I'm careful not to say everyone's full name out here because I'm like, I know who I'm talking to. I get so excited. Yay! I love you, honey. Thank you, Alex. And thank you, Alex, for supporting me on all of this. The second we got RJ's confirmation for next year, my husband was not with me. He texted me though because we got the notification at the same time, which is like the very it's over. We got what we wanted. My husband texted me and was like, "We're moving forward with this, right?" I'm like, okay. So what would you do if you weren't scared? Probably nothing if I still didn't have my husband kind of, pushing me, guiding me, and supporting me every step of the way. I love you. I cannot be more grateful for you. None of this would be happening if you didn't have a job that provided us health insurance and paid for everything. And I love you for making this possible, not just for me, but for everybody else. So we appreciate you, Alex. You are the love of my life. I don't want to do... And I'm sure I could live without you, but I really, really, really never, ever, ever want to try. I don't. Yay! All right. Yes. Everybody. Thank Alex. He's amazing. So with that, if no further ado, this is what fitness protection is going to be, at least for the Maintain bucket of products, specialty products to roll out later in the year. But for now, the minimum viable product is going to be in beta form. Again, if you're just joining the stream, if you have contacted me about build, rebuild, it looks like this because it's the same. If you're building for the first time or coming back to fitness after an extended time off, your programs don't look very different. So I just call the whole thing build, rebuild. Build or rebuild. So if you're contacting me about this bucket or about Runner Interrupted, I will come at you pretty soon. The next, once we get the Maintain launch live and to the public, I will then turn and let Sarah do, or let my assistant coach do all of the running. Sorry, I let her do all of the most of the day-to-day so that I can turn to expanding and building something even bigger. And I'm really excited about what Rebuild is going to bring and what Runner Interrupted is going to bring going forward. They're going to be programs to support you at every stage in your running journey. All the times that I was unable to find a coach, you're going to have it when you're injured, when you're rebuilding, when you're coming back to fitness, and when you're trying to maintain in between highly specialized training cycles. These were always tertiary products. They were never the meat. Bringing the meat to the sandwich, y'all. On that note, have an awesome Saturday, a terrific Sunday, and if you were not tripping over snow this morning, you are winning at life. I'm going to try to get some work done and then knock out another 30 minutes of running before the whole family comes home.